three big issues that they had that if these just little tiny itsy bitsy changes.
They're big changes.
Okay, three itsy bitsy big
They're
changes.
big things.
Okay, three huge changes. If you just did that, Rubik's Cubed it, this could have been a phenomenal film. And I mean that when I say that, because Knives Out, the predecessor to Glass Onion, was a freaking phenomenal film.
Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
Welcome everyone to episode 43 of the Toodle Ramble podcast, and I'm Richard.
I am Austin.
I got the energy today because I am tired.
He was so close to falling asleep a minute ago.
I'm just artificial energy right now.
You will never see a faker Richard in your life. Like this is right before we started recording. He's like, "All right, do we have to do this?" it was just turned right on. So we're here. We're live. Yeah. Let's do this thing.
It's camera time, baby.
We just watched Glass Onion. Not even 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
So this is by the video title. We're saying there's three big problems with Glass Onion. Mind you, we're gonna give you our rating and go into spoilers right away. So if you've not seen Glass Onion, go ahead, check it out, and we'll give you our spoiler-free rating of that. Mine was a 6.25. What was yours?
My rating was a 5.35, which our title's a little misleading.
It is a little
misleading. We clearly
misleading.
don't hate the movie.
No, I actually don't. I kind of like it.
I don't dislike it.
Yeah.
I mean, a 5 for me is like, wasn't bad, wasn't particularly good, but it was okay.
Right, me
It's
giving
fine.
the 6.25, I genuinely think this was three big issues that they had that if these just little tiny itsy bitsy changes.
They're big changes.
Okay, three itsy bitsy big
They're
changes.
big things.
Okay, three huge changes. If you just did that, Rubik's Cubed it, this could have been a phenomenal film. And I mean that when I say that, because Knives Out, the predecessor to Glass Onion, was a freaking phenomenal film.
Oh yeah, I rated that movie
What was your rating?
8.95.
8.95?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just you can't give it a 9. Is that just
Nope, couldn't
not...
give it.
I
Couldn't do it.
I gave Knives Out a 9.4 out of 10. I think that film is a masterpiece in so many different ways. But this isn't about Knives Out. We could go on and about glorifying how great that movie is. So Glass Onion, I was really excited to see. As were you, I imagine.
Yeah.
And by the way, we're going to get into spoilers now. We're going to talk about the three big issues. So if you've not seen Glass Onion, go ahead, check it out before you continue watching this. Or if you don't want to see Glass Onion, you just want to see two people ramble about a movie you haven't seen, you keep watching. That's fine too. But you want to get into these three issues.
Yeah, let's go right into it. I think the first one that we can talk about is Act 1.
Yeah, so
Act 1
the first big
is...
problem with the movie is Act 1.
Yeah.
And by that, you mean
that's
the introduction to the characters?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Overall, it kind of failed in a lot of aspects for me, where jokes did not land. Jokes in the rest of the movie were way more fun. They were way funnier. They actually landed with better comedic timing. First act did not land. I don't think a single joke actually landed during Act 1. Then, I don't think it was a good setup for characters. Like, I didn't care about any character but one. There was one character that was intriguing. The rest were just...
Cassandra, right?
Yeah, Cassandra.
Andy. Yeah.
Andy. But the rest were just kind of caricatures.
Yeah, they're archetypes.
And that could be funny. If it was funnier and it was leaned more to the comedic side, then that would work. But it's trying to be a serious murder mystery movie. So I'm supposed to try and care about the character. So it didn't play either side very well. The comedy or the serious murder mystery drama. So that was a big problem.
Right, with Duke, I believe Batista played Duke. I
Yeah.
think his character name was. The whole slap from the mother. I remember that scene being a bit too corny, and it just seemed like the acting wasn't all there. Also, the timing of the jokes
just
was
his whole
off.
character was like, all right,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
It was just a dull kind of character for me.
Act 1 it was a long introduction as well. It took how many, was it an hour before they got into the actual murder mystery?
Yeah, it took about an hour before, like, this is a murder mystery movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it took an hour before the murder mystery starts. That's just too long.
It did drag on to get to the murder mystery, and I don't think we'd have that complaint if the characters were more alive and really interesting to get behind, because it felt like a bit of a drag just because they spent Ryan Johnson and his team spent the majority of the time showing you each character and their life before they go to this island of boom, this is this person, this is this person, this is this person. And there wasn't a pull of, oh, I kind of want to see what happens with them. They were all very archetypal, and as you said, they were they seemed like caricatures of themselves. In a way.
Also, it's kind of mentioned that these guys are really good friends, that they've known each other for years, and they don't act like friends.
Yeah.
And they act like they don't know each other, which is weird. Well, let's jump into the next one.
And the next one is huge because I have a bunch to say on this. Go ahead. What?
I was going to go into the flashback. You want to
Yes.
go into...
No, this is it. This is
All right,
it.
yeah.
So this is problem number 2 with the movie.
Yeah. The flashback for me was, one, way too long.
Yeah, you're talking about
way too long for a flashback.
We timed it was 36 minutes for the flashback sequence of where Andy gets shot. Sorry, Andy's sister, we find out, gets shot, and then it goes into the flashback with Blanc and her and how that all occurred, right?
Yeah. A big problem with mystery stories that I've seen some modern mystery movies do, like the modern Sherlock Holmes, the second one. I can't remember what its name was, but that one bothered the hell out of me for a similar reason. A great mystery story is one where the audience is presented with all the puzzle pieces, and then as the story walks through, it's being put together, and then the very end, when the detective solves it, he moves the last piece into place, and you go, of course, all the pieces were there and I didn't see it. A bad mystery is where the detective shows you some brand new thing that you had no idea because they never introduced it in the whole movie, and you have no idea. And so you go, oh, well, of course I couldn't figure that out. You didn't tell me all the information. So the Sherlock Holmes one, where Sherlock was going in monologuing like, oh, I found out that you're the murderer because I tested this mud that was scraped off a boot and blah 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 blah. It's like,
the audience
we didn't see that. How do we know?
That's the problem with this flashback.
We are being denied information integral to the story, and that's why the mystery doesn't make sense. Not because the mystery was particularly intriguing or carefully hidden. It was more, yeah, of course we didn't solve the puzzle. We're missing like a fourth of the pieces.
And it especially feels that way, I'd say, because Blanc's character, the detective character, is kind of our perspective. He's the point of view we take mostly, as the audience, mostly. Not the entire time, yes, it goes to, but mostly we're seeing through his eyes of people conversing, and this happening over here. We're seeing that through Blanc's eyes, mostly. So when an entire backstory of him that's integral to the plot is completely omitted from the story, it feels cheaper because the movie did it for the movie's sake. So if you're going to show us his perspective, except take out a huge part of his perspective so that the movie works, that's a problem. Whereas if you included that, and on the flip side, I'm going to make a bold claim.
A bold claim?
I'm going to make a very bold claim.
Okay.
I think if there was one big change here to the flashback sequence part, that I'm gonna say I can write this better. And the only reason I'm saying I could write this better is because I know Ryan Johnson also wrote The Last Jedi. It's the only reason.
That's fair.
Listen, I'll give it to him. Knives Out is a masterpiece. It's perfect plot. I'm not gonna touch you there. But since he wrote The Last Jedi, I'm gonna make the claim and say this is the biggest change you can make to fix this flashback sequence. As soon as, I'm gonna back up for a second, Miles, the billionaire, he freaks out because Batista's character dies, and this is after minutes or however many minutes after Blanc, the detective, solves the mystery, the murder mystery party, and it's funny because he solves it, and Miles is like, "Oh, I've worked all weekend. I worked so long. I hired a professional author to write all this," and you're supposed to be like, "Oh, okay, he figured it out. Now the real murder is gonna happen, right?"
Yeah.
And the real murder does happen, and Miles freaks out, and then Andy dies, and then we get this big flashback sequence. If they just went one different direction with this, I mean this is the big change, it would change the entire movie. But I so wish that Batista dying was Miles's real murder mystery party. if Batista dying and Andy gets shot, so if all these events was Miles was really trying to get the detective Blanc was trying to really get him, and this is a billionaire. He's got so much money. It would have been cool if his whole scheme was to invite this detective, the best detective in the world, to their island
And trick him.
then trick him and have this red herring of oh, you think you solved the mystery, really I'm gonna get all my friends involved. Batista's gonna be on the floor. I'm gonna fake his death there. Shoot Andy. I'm gonna contrive all this. Make it look like we have vendettas against each other. Get these I'm gonna fake kill my old friend back home. She's not really dead. It's a whole part of the plot. I thought it would have been so satisfying if it made that big change. It would have been so riveting because Blanc has to figure out the whole time everybody's in on it, and this billionaire is trying to trick him. The real murder mystery's happening all along.
To be fair, very much the ending would be like Murder on Orient Express.
Have not seen it, so that's fair.
Oh.
Is that how that movie goes?
I'd say that story is so old that I don't need to give a spoiler
Okay,
warning.
yeah. How does that end?
The main thing is a murder happens on the Orient Express.
And it's everybody.
And Poirot actually says, it finds out everyone on the train participated in all of the suspects had motive, opportunity, all this stuff. They all participated. They all stabbed the body. Like the body was stabbed like 23
Why
times.
was a detective there?
He was traveling.
Okay, so this would have been a little change to it, hopefully.
Yeah,
I hope I'm not just copying.
But like the whole idea of it was the big twist of that story, and it was a big twist, I think, in mysteries. Like, yeah, all of the suspects are actually guilty.
Got it.
Not one, not two, all of them.
Right.
All of them are guilty.
Right. That's what was so fascinating about Knives Out is they did the almost reversing that where you think it's the protagonist did the murder. And then you think, oh, wait, no one did the murder. It was an accidental murder.
It started as a mystery, then went to thriller, then went back to mystery.
Yes. I said that wrong. Not no one did the murder. So we think it's she killed him, but no one murdered him, right? So it's that twist on it. But I don't know. Would that be more interesting, or is that just copying the Orient Express?
Oh, it's not a copy of the Orient Express, because your idea would be more humorous. Like it definitely leans into humor, which could be interesting.
Which I think works with what the movie was trying to do. They were trying to be humorous with it.
Yeah.
They were going for something, and then it turned to like. Want to get into the third biggest problem?
Sure. Get right into the ending.
The third problem is the ending. The reveal of who the murderer is, and also the big CGI fest at the end. And I think that's the biggest change it would make is Miles being the murderer didn't feel. What did you think about that? Because to me, it was underwhelming.
Yeah, it was underwhelming, a little boring for me. I mean, like once you realize from the flashback that, actually the Andy's dead, and the person, like, she had the thing against Miles. Like, yeah, Miles probably did it. He's the billionaire. Of course he did. So it made way too much sense of that he was the murderer. It was a little more obvious. And then the ending was just kind of a CGI fest. And
all the glasses being broken, and then the big fire and explosion. It felt like they were trying to do too much for this. You would have rather had a satisfying plot twist, or
I would have been very happy with Cassandra or Andy's sister actually do something that was interesting to, like, get, some kind of twist, some type of thinks on her feet, some way to actually trick him and get him.
Yeah.
But she just kind of has a temper tantrum and blows up stuff.
It was a bit controlled because she was doing it to blow it up.
I guess, but like, just, I'm gonna blow this stuff up.
I guess that's what it is. Is we were looking for a really riveting twist, and the twist was, hey, here, take a drink. Blanc's plan was, here, drink this and destroy things.
A little thing on the fact that Miles killed Batista, and it was.
I love how we call him Batista.
I know. I don't know what the character's name is. Duke. Okay, sure.
We call him Batista.
But Miles says, he picked up my drink, and then we see the movie like show, they swapped drinks by accident. And then the very end, the detective just goes, actually, you just lied to us. And you actually gave it to him. It's like, oh.
Right.
Okay, well, of course, I mean that's lying to your audience
Yeah.
for a mystery, and I think lying to your audience on a mystery novel is on a mystery story is you should use it very sparingly or not at all. Never lie, misdirect, confuse, all
Don't
these
show them
things.
something that's not real.
Yeah, exactly. Or at the very least make it obvious. Like when they did the hypothesis scene of who killed Cassandra, they showed all of the characters.
Right.
But it was clear that it was a hypothesis, not what actually happened.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so with the ending then, are you in agreement with me or am I crazy here to say that my idea is more interesting?
Yeah, your idea is more fun.
Okay.
I would probably laugh more.
I think you're just saying that. But I don't know why I was watching the movie and so frustrated because the ending, it being Miles, it was fine. All right, it's Miles. And the big explosion, there wasn't another twist to it. There wasn't an interesting reveal, whereas Knives Out had all of that. But with this movie, I so wanted there to be an additional thing after Miles being revealed as the killer. Because I was sitting there for the last 20 minutes, and as soon as Miles was revealed to be, oh, he's the one that did this and did this. Oh, what's the added flavor? What else happened? What are we missing here? And when that was the answer for everything, I went, oh.
And if it is supposed to be kind of that like, it's supposed to be funny because it's so boring. They could have done more humorous aspects with that. I don't know.
I did think it was pretty funny the fact that I think there was a line of dialogue where Blanc went, "He's just so dumb," and then one of the friends says, "Yeah, he's so dumb, he's genius," and he goes, "No, he's
just dumb."
He's just dumb." So when they leaned into the funny, it was actually really funny, and I kind of like this movie. I guess I'm just so frustrated because it was so close for me to being beautiful. Another Knives Out, and it just missed on those big notes, those teensy huge notes. It's so weird. But what else, did you think that the ending could have? Is there a different ending that you'd imagine than I imagined? Is there anything else for you?
No, that's about it, I think, for me.
Okay.
No, those are kind of my thoughts on the story.
Well, geez, this was more of a frustrating venting podcast, I guess, today. Glass Onion was really not a bad movie.
No.
It was just so close to being fantastic, I think.
Yeah. Well, I know that this video will be dropping the day after Christmas. So all of you guys that are watching, happy holidays. Hope you had a great Christmas or other holiday of your choosing or background or whatever. I did want to pop in here at the very end that if you've watched all the way through, then maybe be interested. I will be reading upcoming pretty soon, like next day or two, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It's an interesting translation by Gregory Hayes. And so if you guys are interested in a video discussion on philosophy of Marcus Aurelius and Stoicism, let me know in the comments if that actually would be interest to you. Or do you want us to still stick to like fantasy and sci-fi stuff? And maybe we can branch out into some other type of literature. That was all I wanted to plug at the very end.
You know what?
People
Nice.
would like that.
Comment below. Make Richard happy.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. That was Tutor Ramble, and we'll see you next week.